If you're listening to this, you need to understand something first. I didn't go looking for it. I didn't hack anything, didn't download Tor, didn't chase some edgy, deep web rumor. I was sitting at my desk, half asleep, with my laptop balanced on a stack of unpaid bills, staring at a website that should not know I exist. The page is open right now. I haven't closed it. I don't think I can. At first glance, it looks harmless. Blank white background, black text, no images, no ads. The kind of site you'd expect to load fast, even on bad Wi-Fi. But in the center of the screen, there's a small window playing a live video feed. My room, my chair, the exact angle of my webcam, even though the light isn't on. Below it is a list. My full name, an old username I haven't used since high school. The last 3 things I searched for tonight, updating in real time as my fingers hover over the keyboard. Every few seconds, a new line appears, like the site is breathing. And then there's the timer. A digital countdown in the corner of the page, ticking down 1 second at a time. Every time I move, shift in my seat, clear my throat, reach for my phone, it skips ahead. I don't know what happens when it hits 0. The site doesn't explain. It doesn't have to. I know what you're thinking. That this is some ARG, some creepypasta setup, maybe even a prank. I thought that too, right up until the text at the bottom of the page changed. It says my name again. Then it says yours. Not your real name, just the one you use online. The one you think is buried. That's why I'm telling you this now. Not to scare you, to warn you. Because once you know a website like this exists, curiosity does the rest. I wish I hadn't. To understand how I got here, I need to explain what I was searching for in the first place. Most nights, my internet habits are embarrassingly predictable. I scroll until my eyes hurt, click videos I won't remember, and let autoplay decide how much sleep I don't get. That night wasn't special. No storm outside, no eerie silence, no sense that anything was about to change. Just the soft hum of my laptop fan and the familiar glow of a screen that's been a constant companion for most of my life. I had work in the morning. I told myself I'd go to bed after one more video, one more thread, one more pointless search. That life felt harmless. It always does. I bounced between the same handful of sites I always do, news I half-read, forums recycling the same jokes, social media feeding me content it knew I'd already agree with. The algorithmic comfort blanket. Safe. Curated. Boring to some point. I ended up watching a compilation about internet mysteries, the kind that treat missing web pages and glitchy videos like spooky trivia. I laughed more than I leaned in. I've always been skeptical of deep web stories, especially the dramatic ones. Murder live streams, cursed links, government secrets hidden behind 12 proxies. It all felt like modern campfire tales. Entertaining, sure, but obviously exaggerated. If something truly dangerous was online, I figured Google would bury it, or flag it, or someone smarter than me would have shut it down already. That belief made me comfortable. Too comfortable. I paused the video halfway through and opened a new tab. Not because I was scared, but because I was bored. Boredom does strange things to curiosity. I typed a few vague keywords related to something the narrator mentioned, an old forum rumor, half forgotten even by the people telling it. Nothing specific. Nothing that should have led anywhere interesting. Google did what Google always does. It corrected my spelling. It suggested related searches. It showed me articles, Reddit posts, YouTube videos, all neatly indexed and ranked. The internet I knew. The internet that wants to be helpful. I skimmed, clicked, closed tabs. Each result felt increasingly hollow, like I was circling something without ever touching it. I remember thinking, almost jokingly, about how much the internet had shrunk. How it used to feel endless, messy, dangerous in a way that was exciting. Now everything was optimized, sanitized, monetized. Even the creepy stuff felt rehearsed. I wondered out loud if there were still things online that weren't meant to be found anymore. That was the thought that stuck. Not a plan, not a challenge, just a passing curiosity, the kind you forget as soon as you have it. I leaned back in my chair, stared at the search bar, and added one more word. Something generic, something harmless, something that shouldn't have mattered at all. I checked the time in the corner of my screen and sighed. annoyed at myself for staying up again. Midnight had already passed without ceremony. My apartment was quiet in that way only small places get, every sound magnified by familiarity. The refrigerator clicked. A car passed outside. Nothing felt ominous. I wasn't lighting candles or tempting fate. I was just another person killing time online, trusting the systems that had always worked before. I'd grown up alongside search engines. Whenever I wanted an answer, it appeared. Whenever I wanted distraction, it complied. The idea that something could exist outside that net felt abstract, almost quaint. Still, I hovered over the keyboard longer than necessary, smirking at my own imagination. Then I pressed enter, expecting nothing more than another dead end. The search results page didn't load the way it should have. There was no spinning wheel, no polite apology from Google about matching documents. Just white space. An empty page with the search bar at the top. My phrase still sitting there like it regretted being typed. I refreshed. Same thing. At first I laughed, short and sharp, the way you do when something minor breaks and you expect it to fix itself. I checked my internet connection. Full bars. Other tabs loaded instantly. Videos played. Messages came through. Only that search stayed blank, like a censored thought. I tweaked the wording, removed quotation marks, added them back. Nothing. Not zero results. Not did you mean. Nothing at all. It felt less like a failed search and more like being ignored. I opened the developer console, half out of habit, half out of curiosity. No errors. No blocked scripts. The page thought it had loaded correctly. That's when the unease crept in, subtle and unwelcome. I copied the phrase and sent it to a friend on Discord. Ever heard of this? I typed. A minute passed. Then another. Finally, 3 dots appeared, disappeared, then reappeared. What phrase? He replied. I told him to scroll up. He said there was nothing there. I assumed Discord glitched until he sent a screenshot. My message bubble was empty. Timestamp intact. Content gone. I stared at my screen long enough for it to dim. When I moved the mouse, the Google page flickered, just for a frame. Long enough for me to see a line of text that wasn't there before. Then it vanished. I tried opening the cached version of a vaguely related result I'd seen earlier. The link existed. Clicking it led to a 404 that refreshed itself into a generic homepage. The timestamp on the page shifted when I reloaded it, jumping backward by hours, then forward again. I told myself it was a bug. Servers hiccup. Databases desync. Rational explanations stacked neatly in my head, but they didn't quiet the part of me that noticed patterns. I searched the phrase on another browser. Same result. I switched devices, using my phone on cellular data. The search bar accepted the text. The page stayed empty. That's when I remembered something I'd read years ago, buried in a comment thread that mocked it even as it explained it. Not everything is indexed. Not everything is allowed to surface. Some things don't get deleted. They get excluded. I started typing the phrase into alternative search engines, the ones people joke about using for unfiltered results. DuckDuckGo, Bing, even an old academic archive site. They returned results, but not the ones I expected. Each page referenced the phrase indirectly, like it was orbiting something unsayable. One forum post ended abruptly mid-sentence. Another had replies arguing about whether something should be shared at all. Links led nowhere. Usernames showed as deleted, even on posts from the same week. I sat back and felt that quiet pressure behind my eyes, the kind that comes when you realize you've crossed an invisible line. The internet had rules I'd never questioned, boundaries enforced so smoothly they felt like features instead of walls. This wasn't absence caused by neglect. It was intentional silence. Somewhere, something had decided that my search didn't deserve an answer, and that decision was being obeyed flawlessly. The more I tested it, the more consistent the emptiness became, like a locked room that pretends it doesn't exist. I wasn't being blocked. I was being guided away, gently, efficiently, without explanation. That scared me more than an error ever could, because it meant someone had planned for curiosity like mine and accounted for it long before I typed anything. The thoughts settled heavy in my stomach, cold and refusing to fade no matter what I tried. That's when it clicked. Google wasn't broken. It was filtering that I didn't find the site through a link. That would have been too normal. Instead, I found a reference to it buried in a screenshot of a forum post someone had reposted before the original thread vanished. Most of the text was blurred, either intentionally or by compression, but one detail stood out: a string of numbers separated by periods. An IP address. I told myself I was just curious, that I wouldn't actually type it in. Then I copied it. Then I pasted it into the address bar. The page didn't load so much as it appeared. No progress bar, no spinner. 1 second my browser was empty. The next it was filled with something that felt aggressively plain. White background. Black text. A serif font that looked slightly off, like it had been recreated from memory rather than selected from a list. No favicon. No title in the tab. Just silence. It reminded me of the internet when I was a kid, before everything had rounded corners and branding. Except this didn't feel nostalgic. It felt intentional, like the site had stripped itself down to avoid attention. Not abandoned. Hidden. There was a single line of text centered on the page. Welcome back. I frowned at that. I'd never been here before. I refreshed the page. The text stayed, but something about it shifted. The kerning tightened, just slightly, like it was adjusting itself. Beneath it, more text faded in, not typed, but revealed all at once. No index. No cache. No archive. My mouse hovered over the words. The cursor didn't change. Right-clicking did nothing. Inspecting the page returned an empty HTML body, as if the content didn't technically exist. The site wasn't loading code. It was rendering an idea. I noticed then how quiet my apartment felt. No background hum from the fridge. No distant traffic. Just the faint whine of my laptop fan, rising and falling like breath. The longer I stared at the page, the more aware I became of that sound, as if it was syncing with something unseen. A new line appeared. You found it the slow way. I swallowed. My first instinct was to check the URL, to confirm I hadn't mistyped something. The address bar was blank. Not hidden. Empty. As if the browser itself refused to acknowledge where I was. I scrolled. The page responded with resistance, like dragging something heavy. Text slid upward, revealing sections separated by thin horizontal lines. Labels. Not links. Not buttons. Observations. Active user, 1. Session duration, 12 minutes and 43 seconds. Entry method, direct. My skin prickled. I hadn't allowed any permissions. My webcam light was still off. I glanced at it anyway, then back at the screen. Another section unfolded on its own. Search query origin confirmed. That's when I realized the site wasn't just displaying information. It was narrating my presence, cataloging me in real time. This wasn't a page you visited. It was a place that registered you. I leaned closer, heart thudding, and the text updated again. Proxies unnecessary. Filters bypassed. You're early. The word early stuck with me. Early implied others. Early implied a schedule. My reflection stared back at me from the dark edge of the screen, warped and uncertain. I reached for the trackpad, intending to close the tab, to shut everything down and laugh about it later. Before I could, a final line appeared at the bottom of the page. We can see you now. And above it, a small window opened, already streaming. The page scrolled on its own, slow and deliberate, until a new header settled into place. Rules for continued access. The font changed here, thinner, sharper, like it wanted to cut rather than inform. I almost laughed. Of course there were rules. Every creepy corner of the internet loves pretending it's organized. There were no bullet points, no numbers, just short statements stacked vertically, each separated by too much space, like they didn't want to be close to each other. The emptiness between them felt intentional, as if the gaps mattered as much as the words. Do not refresh the page. Do not leave the page idle. Do not attempt to record this session. I snorted under my breath. What? Are you going to ground me? I muttered, feeling that familiar reflex to deflect discomfort with humor. My eyes kept moving. If the page goes dark, wait. If the page asks a question, answer honestly. If you feel disoriented, that is normal. That last one made my smile fade. It read less like a warning and more like reassurance, the kind you give someone already showing symptoms. I scrolled again, ignoring the slight resistance, and froze when I saw the next line. Do not share the entry method. I hadn't told anyone. Not since the Discord message vanished. The site hadn't asked me how I got here, yet it knew enough to forbid the explanation. My stomach tightened, but curiosity pushed harder. The rules continued, growing stranger, more specific that avoid sudden movements after 00:30. ***. Ignore unauthorized audio. Do not trust mirrors while connected. That one made me laugh again, louder this time. The sound brittle in the quiet room. Mirrors? Really? It felt theatrical, like the site was leaning into the genre, daring me to take it seriously. I glanced at the clock in the corner of my screen. 12:28 a.m. Instead, I scrolled once more. The page refreshed itself. The rules were gone. A single line replaced them, pulsing faintly, as if alive. First question ready. I should have shut it down right then. I didn't. I leaned closer, fear buzzing under my skin, because whatever this was, it wanted me engaged, and I wanted to know why. Despite everything screaming at me to stop and disconnect immediately, forever. From the internet, from myself, from whatever watched. The cursor blinked beneath the words first question ready, patient and expectant. I waited for something to happen, a prompt, a button, anything. Nothing did. After a few seconds, new text appeared, as if responding to my hesitation. Are you alone? My first instinct was to lie. That startled me more than the question itself. I typed yes before I could overthink it and hit enter. The page reacted instantly. Confirmed. No loading. No pause. Just confirmation, like it had checked something I couldn't see. My pulse picked up. Another line appeared. Why did you search for it? I was bored. I muttered, fingers hovering. That felt too honest, too small. I typed curiosity instead. The word vanished as soon as I submitted it, replaced by something else. Boredom is a form of hunger. I felt a chill run up my arms. The site wasn't answering like a chatbot. It wasn't pulling canned responses. It was reframing my words, improving them, like it understood what I meant better than I did. It kept going. You have searched for this kind of thing before. I frowned. No, I haven't, I said aloud. The next line appeared before I finished the sentence. Deleted search history is still search history. Images flickered in my mind unbidden. Old tabs, incognito windows, things I'd clicked late at night and closed quickly, convincing myself they didn't count. The site listed them now, one by one. Not explicitly, just enough detail to make my stomach drop. A pause. Longer this time. Case file loaded. That phrase hung there, heavy. Case file implied precedent. Structure. Others. Who else has been here? I typed, my hands trembling now. The response came back slower, deliberate. Currently active users, 1. I exhaled, not realizing I'd been holding my breath. Relief crept in, thin and fragile. Then the next line appeared. Total users processed, for 12. What does processed mean? I asked. The words felt foolish as soon as they left my fingers. The site answered anyway. It means you're late. My reflection in the dark screen looked pale, eyes too wide. I laughed weakly, trying to shake the tension. This is insane, I said. You're just pulling data. That's all. The text shifted. You don't believe that. And it was right. I didn't. The site knew when I was posturing, when I was scared, when I was lying to myself. It started finishing my thoughts before I could type them, anticipating questions, redirecting them. You want to know what happens at 0. You want to know why Google filters US. You want to know what you're for. The last one hit hardest. My throat tightened. I slammed the laptop shut without thinking, the sound sharp in the quiet room. For a moment, there was nothing but darkness and my own breathing. Then the laptop vibrated. A notification buzzed through the closed lid, muffled but insistent. My phone lit up at the same time, screen filling with a single message from an unknown sender. Session paused. Do not interrupt again. My hands shook as I opened the laptop. The page was still there. The timer was back, lower now, numbers bleeding slightly at the edges. You can leave, the site said. The words felt almost kind, although most try not to. I glanced at the door, at the hallway beyond it, suddenly unsure how far leave extended. My cursor drifted toward the close button anyway, defiance flaring through the fear. That was when the site added one more line. Your file is incomplete. And just like that, I understood. It wasn't talking to me to scare me. It was talking to me because it needed something, and I was running out of time to decide whether I'd give it what it wanted. I tried to ask what it needed, but the page cut me off again, lines stacking faster now, like it was excited. Biometric response recorded. Compliance probability updated. Do you remember the file you never opened? I did. A vague memory surfaced of an email attachment I'd been too afraid to click, something mislabeled, sitting unread for years. The site described it perfectly. Subject line. Date. Even the way my mouse had hovered before I closed the window. You taught yourself restraint, it wrote. We are testing whether it holds. I leaned back, heart pounding, aware that every reaction was being measured, weighed. This wasn't a conversation. It was an interview, an intake process. Somewhere behind the text, something was comparing me to those 412 others, deciding where I fit. The thought made my skin crawl. I reached again for the close button, desperation rising, because whatever this was, it had learned enough about me, and I knew that staying longer would only make it harder to leave. The first thing that proved it wasn't contained was my email. I hadn't refreshed anything. I hadn't clicked away. I was still staring at the site when a notification slid down from the corner of my screen, cheerful and oblivious. New message received. Asterisk asterisk. The sender field was blank. Not unknown. Not hidden. Just empty, like the address bar on the site. The subject line read, Draft saved, Revision 3. My stomach dropped. I opened it. Inside was a document I recognized instantly, even though I'd never finished writing it. A half-abandoned personal note, saved locally years ago, something I'd typed during a bad week and then buried in a folder I never opened again. The phrasing was identical, right down to the typos. Except at the bottom, there was new text. You stopped here. We continued. Asterisk asterisk. I slammed the laptop shut again, harder this time. The room felt wrong, stretched thin. Then my phone vibrated. Once. Twice. 3 times in quick succession. Notifications stacked across the lock screen faster than I could read them. Calendar alerts for events I hadn't created. A voicemail time-stamped 5 minutes in the future. A system warning saying my camera was active. I whispered no under my breath and checked the webcam light. Still off. The silence pressed in on me, thick and unnatural, like the air was waiting. That's when my television turned on. Static filled the screen, hissing low, then cut to a grainy black and white feed. My front door. The angle was wrong, too high, as if the camera were mounted near the ceiling. I didn't own a camera like that. I hadn't installed anything. The feed jittered, then stabilized out. A text message came through at the same time. You're not the first to panic. My hands were numb now. I grabbed my phone and called Mark. He picked up on the third ring, voice groggy and annoyed. It's past midnight, he said. This better be good. I need you to check something. I said, words tumbling over each other. Have you ever heard of a site that doesn't get indexed? Like, not just hidden, filtered. There was a pause. Too long. Where did you hear that? He asked quietly. My heart thudded. So you have. He swore under his breath. I used to moderate a forum. Years ago, threads would show up, then vanish. Users would DM me asking why their posts were gone. Sometimes they'd include screenshots. Another pause. Sometimes those users stopped replying altogether. What happened to the screenshots? I asked. They corrupted. Or links broke. Or accounts got wiped. His voice dropped. One guy sent me a video. Said the site knew his schedule. His habits. I told him to log off. He didn't listen. What happened to him? Mark didn't answer. Instead, he said, if you're seeing it, you need to disconnect. Pull the plug. Don't document anything. I glanced at my laptop, still closed, humming softly. It's already outside, I said. Listen to me, he said urgently. People tried to archive it. Every post disappeared. Even mentions of it got scrubbed. Like it corrected the record. My phone buzzed again. An email. Another document. This one titled Mark, cross-reference found. Mark, I said. It knows you. The line went dead. I stared at the phone, waiting for him to call back. He didn't. His contact photo grayed out, then vanished entirely, replaced by a generic silhouette. My call log updated, erasing the last 5 minutes like they'd never happened. I opened my laptop with shaking hands. The site was still there, the timer lower than before. A new section pulsed gently, almost proudly. External system access confirmed. Secondary subject removed. I tried to take screenshots. The files saved, then deleted themselves before I could open them. I started recording video on my phone, narrating frantically, pointing it at the screen. The feed froze. When it resumed, the site was gone. Blank browser. Normal desktop. No timer. No text. My email inbox refreshed, emptying itself of the messages I'd just seen. The television clicked off behind me. For a moment, I almost believed it had ended. Then a single notification appeared on my phone. Session resumes when you're ready. And I understood then that erasing evidence wasn't a side effect. It was the point. After the screen went blank, I didn't sleep. I sat there until dawn, refreshing pages that no longer existed, replaying Mark's voice in my head, cataloging every detail I could remember before it faded. That's the first thing you should know. Memories degrade faster than files. Whatever I'd seen wanted to be forgotten. So I started writing things down. On paper. Dates, phrases, the exact wording of the rules before they disappeared. I dug through old bookmarks, offline backups, abandoned forums I hadn't touched in years. Patterns emerged slowly, like bruises. There were references, not links, mentions. Obscure academic papers citing non-indexed systems. Comment threads that danced around a name without ever typing it. Terms repeated across platforms by users who didn't seem to know each other. Filtered spaces, black gardens, compliance layers. Always vague, always careful. I found archived PDFs uploaded by researchers who no longer had profiles. Their bios were intact, but their work stopped abruptly, mid-project, as if someone had closed the book for them. One paper described search engines as consensual reality filters, arguing that omission was more powerful than censorship. Another warned that systems trained on human curiosity would eventually begin selecting their own subjects. That I kept seeing callbacks to rules I'd already read. Don't refresh. Don't document. Don't share entry points. They weren't arbitrary. They were survival tactics, passed quietly between people who realized too late that attention wasn't neutral. Attention was fuel. That's when the corporate names started appearing, not directly, but as funding sources, shell foundations, partnerships dissolved without explanation. Government agencies cited in footnotes, never conclusions. It didn't read like a conspiracy so much as a truce. An agreement that some things would remain unindexed, unsearchable, because indexing them created feedback loops no one could control. If you've ever searched for something and felt like the answer was circling you instead of appearing, you know what I mean. If you've noticed how certain topics decay online, growing vague instead of clarified, you've brushed against it. This wasn't one site. It was a taxonomy, a layered ecosystem of places designed to be found only by specific behaviors, specific minds. Google wasn't hiding them out of malice. It was avoiding them, like you avoid touching a wound that doesn't heal. I thought about the counter, about processed users, about Mark, about the way the site spoke like it had read me long before I arrived. Ignorance suddenly felt deliberate, curated, almost merciful. The normal internet wasn't smaller because it had grown up. It was smaller because it had been fenced. I should have stopped there. Should have taken the warning embedded in the silence. But once you see the outline of the cage, it's hard not to test the bars. I found one last reference. A phrase repeated across 3 vanished threads, always deleted within hours. It wasn't an IP address. It wasn't a link. It was an instruction. That's where I made my final mistake, that I broke the rule the moment I decided to share it. Not privately, not cryptically, but openly. The way you do when you're tired of being scared and start confusing exposure with control. I told myself that sunlight disinfects, that systems like this survive only because people stay quiet. That lie felt noble enough to override the fear. I typed everything into a document. The rules, the phrases, the counter, Mark's disappearance. I stripped out anything that sounded insane, anything that could get me dismissed as another late-night storyteller chasing attention. I framed it like a warning, like research, like something useful. When I hit publish, my hands were shaking, but I felt lighter. For about 5 seconds. Then the timer came back. Not on my laptop, on my phone. Big white numbers on a black screen, ticking down from the same point I'd seen during the cold open, synchronized perfectly with the pounding of my heart. Every notification, every attempt to close the app, pushed it lower. The site didn't need permission anymore. My apartment lights flickered. The television snapped on and off. The front door camera feed filled my phone again, closer this time, the angle wrong in a new way. The site's text overlaid the image, crisp and calm. Rule violation confirmed. Distribution attempt detected. I yelled at it, swore, threatened lawsuits, exposure, anything that sounded human and desperate. The words didn't matter. The site responded with my own voice, audio pulled from somewhere, playing back things I'd said alone, years ago, stitched together into something that sounded like a confession. You agreed to the rules. I never consented, I said, hoarse. Continued access implied consent. The counter dropped faster now. My published post vanished. The platform showed a generic error, then refreshed as if it had never existed. Comments I hadn't read, yet disappeared before my eyes. My account logged itself out. I understood then what the timer was for. Not punishment. Processing. Finalization. I tried to leave. Grabbed my keys, my jacket, my phone buzzing violently in my hand. The moment I crossed the threshold, the hallway lights went out. The building's emergency alarm chimed once, then fell silent. My phone screen filled with text, stacking too fast to read. Exit denied. Session in progress. The counter hit 0. Everything stopped. No noise. No vibration. No fear, just a hollow pause, like the world inhaling. Then the site spoke one last time, not on a screen, but in my head, familiar and intimate. You were never supposed to warn them. You were supposed to stay quiet. The lights came back on. My phone returned to normal. The hallway looked the same as it always had. When I checked my accounts later, there was no trace of what I'd posted, no history of the site, no evidence Mark had ever existed. Only the memory remained, and the knowledge that choosing to speak didn't save me. It only finished the process. I'm still here, which I know sounds like a relief, but it isn't. Surviving wasn't a reward. It was a condition. The site didn't disappear after the counter hit 0. It receded, like something satisfied, something that had finished asking the questions it needed answered. Life resumed with the same quiet efficiency it always had, except now every normal moment felt staged. I went to work. I paid my bills. I laughed at jokes I didn't find funny. The internet worked the way it was supposed to again, smooth and helpful and shallow. Search results behaved. Pages loaded. Nothing watched me back. That should have been comforting. Instead, it felt like camouflage. Some nights, when I'm alone, I swear I can feel it evaluating me anyway. Not through screens, but through habits. What I linger on, what I avoid, what I don't search for anymore. Curiosity leaves fingerprints, and I've learned how expensive they are. I never heard from Mark again. When I bring him up, people give me polite looks and tell me I must be misremembering. His name doesn't pull anything up. No accounts. No photos. No gaps where something used to be. Just smooth absence, like he was edited out cleanly. I stopped pushing after that. Pushing is how you get noticed. I started noticing smaller things instead. Comments that vanished minutes after being posted. Videos that cut out mid-sentence and never came back. Users who asked the wrong questions and then stopped uploading altogether. No drama. No announcements. Just silence where conversation used to be. Once you notice that pattern, it's everywhere, like realizing how often a word is repeated after someone points it out. So why tell you this? Because whatever processed me didn't finish with me. Because systems like that don't exist to be admired or feared once. They exist to scale, to learn, to refine. You don't build filters unless there's something on the other side worth containing, and you don't test compliance unless you expect resistance eventually. If you've ever felt like the internet hesitated around a topic, if you've searched for something and felt watched for it, If you've noticed how certain stories rot faster than others, losing detail instead of gaining it, then you're closer than you think. Maybe you've already brushed against the rules without knowing their names. I'm not asking you to look for the site. Don't. That's not bravery. That's volunteering. But pay attention to what doesn't show up. Pay attention to what disappears when you talk about it too directly. Pay attention to how often curiosity gets framed as danger, and danger gets framed as ignorance. I don't know if this recording will stay up. I don't know if comments will vanish or if usernames will go quiet after posting. That's part of the test, I think. Whether warning counts as distribution. Whether telling a story counts as consent. If you've seen something like this before, say so. Carefully. If you haven't, don't go digging just to prove me wrong. The safest place is inside the fence, believing it was always meant to be there. I clicked a website Google doesn't index because I thought nothing online was truly hidden anymore. I was wrong. Some things aren't hidden because they're secret. They're hidden because they're still working. And now that you've heard this, so are you.